Greetings, folks. This is DC Investing. I have reached financial independence, and I'm talking about topics to help others on their journey to reach financial independence. And today, the topic is free money. And as investors, it's great to take advantage of every opportunity you can to get some free money. And so the thing I want to talk about today is I have become an investor at Robinhood, and I got paid $823.32 from Robinhood recently. So it's free money, and I thought I'd discuss how I got that and how you can too. So basically, it was just a promotion that they ran. When you transfer a balance from one brokerage to another, then they give you a percentage of the balance. Now, at the time that I did this, the balance transfer benefit was 1%. So that means I transferred $82,000 to Robinhood. So I guess you have to have money to make money in this case. I did just look up today, and they're actually running a, um, a promotion where anybody who transfers funds in gets 1% of whatever they transfer in. But if you have a Robinhood Gold account, then you get 2%. So I wish that was the deal right now, because I was a Robinhood Gold member. So I guess if I'd done it this month, I would have gotten twice that $800. So if you do this, you get the opportunity. I think this deal lasts till September 15th or something like that. But 1% or 2%, those are great benefits for doing nothing other than transferring some funding. So this is one of those cases where you kind of have to have money in order to make money. And the more money you have, the more money you can make. This is a pretty painless thing to do. All you have to do is move a balance over from one brokerage account to another, and you get that benefit. So in this case, knowing about this, taking advantage of it, earned $823. Now, if you're an average person working for a salary, you think about how many hours does that take to earn those funds. If you're at your W-2 job getting a salary, it's just like a few more hours of your life that you get back. Now, there's a couple reasons why I chose Robinhood recently. So I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Fidelity user, and I love that platform. It's really great. But I have begun using Robinhood, and there are a few main reasons why. One of the considerations is the level of insurance that you have on a brokerage account. And I think it's called SPIC insurance, and basically each account that you have gets insured up to $500,000. So if something should happen to a brokerage, then SPIC guarantees that you get your funds back. And why that's important is, in today's day, it's like you don't actually own the things that you think you own. It's really the brokerage houses that own those things, and then they owe them to you. So, if say a Schwab went bankrupt, which there was some underpinnings and some worries about that. Well, Schwab may not actually have the funding to be able to give you your stocks, and so thus the insurance comes about. I trust Fidelity a lot more, and I've actually heard they have a secondary insurance policy over the SPIC insurance. So, I think I'm fine. But just in the back of my mind, it's like, hey, this could be a worry, and I do have more than $500,000 at my Fidelity account. So transferring some of the funds over to Robinhood was a way to just kind of mitigate that a little bit. I've got a total of about a couple 100,000 that I've moved over to Robinhood now. And it's just a way of diversifying the insurance. Now I'll say, if you have different types of accounts with the brokerage, you get that 500,000 for each different type of account. So if you have a traditional IRA, you get 500,000. If you have a Roth IRA, that's another 500,000. If you have, an individual account, that's 500,000. So, if you get multiple, if your spouse has a separate account, that's another 500,000. So you can kind of stack these next to each other, but any one individual account, you only get that $500,000 of insurance. So I pulled a few 100,000 out of Fidelity and moved it over to Robinhood. In the back of my mind, okay, that kind of spreads my insurance risk around. I trust Fidelity a whole lot more than I do Robinhood. I know that they have had some fiascos in the past, but I think it's fairly safe. And I'm insured up to $500,000 should something happen. So that's number one, just kind of diversifying my portfolio insurance. The second reason is that I wanted to tamper with some margin investing and try a strategy out this year. And so Robinhood has one of the best margin interest rates that I have ever found. And so I've actually borrowed over $100,000 of margin loan interest. And so my interest rate is only 5.25%. And that's just a great rate for margin accounting. So that was really the main reason why I wanted to go with Robinhood, was just because they had better rates than Fidelity did. And I just wanted to try experimenting this year with margin. Now, I'm only doing a small percentage of my account overall on this margin experiment. I know some people really take it to extremes, but I'm not. I'm just doing something that I think will make money. It's not hugely risky, but that's one of the reasons why I went and opened up this Robinhood account. And then along the process, I got a bonus offer that said, hey, if you transfer a balance over, we'll give you 1%. I had been planning on moving some more funding over anyhow, but when the deal came out to get 1% for a margin transfer, I'm like, hey, well, let's take advantage of this now. And so I might have taken some more over in pieces, but I just decided, no, I'm going to move $82,000 or whatever it was, and I got the margin bonus. And so or not the margin bonus, but the transfer bonus. It was great. And it wasn't easily apparent to me at first where this bonus showed up. I kind of looked through the past history and I couldn't find it. And so I did the Robinhood uh, messaging, or the chat. I guess it's the Robinhood chat. And then first it was an AI assistant that came in. I asked a question it didn't understand. So it transferred me to a real person. And I was actually impressed. I got through to a real person. I asked him my question. He looked through my account and was able to say, oh, no, you did get your bonus. It showed up on this particular day. And it was actually kind of a odd little place to see it. It's hard to kind of see. So I'm going to show an image of what my screen looked like if anyone, this might help somebody out there to see this thing for themselves. But yep, it shows that I made this transfer over there. I got the bonus. In my case, that bonus just paid down my margin balance just a little bit, rather than, because I don't have any cash in the account, but that's fine. So yeah, my margin got paid down just a little bit, and it did make it to my account. So there's my experience on both the transfer process. The transfer process worked really easily, seamlessly from Fidelity to Robinhood. Funds showed up. I got the bonus. I had a question, talked with their chat. It worked. And overall, it seemed like a fine overall experience. So, just in the spirit of trying to have, my life experiences potentially help your life experiences, a 1% difference doesn't seem like a huge thing, but every gain helps. And particularly if it's painless, it's just, moving some funds over, you can get those benefits. Now, there is some contingencies. You have to keep your funds with Robinhood for 5 years in order to keep that funding benefit. I do plan to do that, unless something falls apart. I don't know, who knows what, but you do have to keep your funds there for a while. But I planned on doing this margin strategy with Robinhood for a while. So again, I got 1% of a gain just because I did this. So let me know, do you guys have an interest in this type of information? Have you ever gotten a balance transfer deal? They do have a better deal now than when I did. It's 1% for anybody, but if you have a gold member account, you get the 2%. That's painless. It's like a $5 a month charge, but then they give you $1,000 of free margin interest, which basically works out to be the same thing. So, if you do get your gold account, definitely throw a little margin in there. Buy something that pays a good dividend or you think will go up, and that'll just pay for itself. So, there's an opportunity. And I'm getting passed by a lawnmower here, so there's a bunch of noise that's going on. So I guess I'll sign out. Like, subscribe, and you know, leave a comment. That always helps. Does this information help you? Have you ever done a balance transfer? And hopefully you have a good investment journey. We'll see you. Bye.